The Jurassic World VelociCoaster has been open for team member previews and annual pass holder previews, and it is now in full technical rehearsal. We are going to discuss the opening, the queue, the ride, and hear from our listeners as they've sent in their thoughts, because none of us have ridden it at this point. So this is episode 454 of the Unofficial Universal Orlando podcast. Hey everyone, welcome to the show. We are going to talk pretty much exclusively on this show about the new VelociCoaster. That is right, I have owned that title now. I'm just going to go with it. But I am joined to talk about this by my good friends Chris.
Hey, what's up?
And Michelle.
Hello, everybody.
And Tracy is eyeballs deep in uni work, but hopefully she should be back in 2 weeks and it should all be done. I know
Hello.
we're all
see you next time.
She's not a cockney, you know.
Was that your best impression of Tracy? Because you need to work on it.
I have like 7 variations of it, but you only get a little bit today.
Okay. So to kick this off, we are going to head over to Seth for this week's Little Things first.
Hi everyone, this is Seth Gabursky, author of the Unofficial Guide to Universal Orlando, and I've got a ginormous Raptor-tastic edition of all the little things for May of 2021. First and foremost, the long-awaited Jurassic World VelociCoaster began public soft openings this week after technical rehearsals for employees, media, and selected annual pass holders. I was lucky enough to get in on 3 out of the 4 of those previews, and as of this recording have been on the ride 13 times, and all I can say is hold on to your butts. This is definitely
times.
The most intense roller coaster ever at Universal Orlando, and has instantly shot to the top of my list of favorite thrill rides anywhere in the world.
Wow.
Previews should continue, but keep in mind that technical rehearsals can stop at any time, so don't plan your visit to the park around them until the ride is officially open. A couple little statistics about the new ride. During the public previews, they've been running 4 trains, dispatching about every 60 seconds, which means they can move over 1,400 guests per hour through the attraction. They've been posting a 75-minute wait, with an actual wait time closer to 50 minutes as long as everything is running smoothly. And once you reach the interior portion of the queue with the metallic statue of the Raptor pack, you've got less than 30 minutes to go before boarding. After you exit the ride, you can check out the new pop-up VelociCoaster store, which has been installed in the lower level of the Discovery Center. And you'll also be able to get VelociCoaster merchandise soon in the new Jurassic World Tribute store, coming soon to Universal Studios Florida. And for a free souvenir of the new ride, annual pass holders can pick up this month's UOAP pin, which is a tribute to the VelociCoaster, at either the UOAP Lounge in Universal Studios Florida or the store in Toon Lagoon. Believe it or not, that's far from the biggest little news to happen at Universal Orlando this week. The other major change is that social distancing has been reduced throughout the resort from 6 feet to 3 feet, and temperature checks have been discontinued for all guests and employees. In addition, rides are now filling every seat in every ride vehicle, and single rider has been returning to numerous attractions, including the Hulk and Men in Black. However, at this point, pre-shows, such as the Elevator and Gringotts, are not yet operating again. The only part of social distancing I'm really sorry to see go is the extra spacing in the parking garage. They are no longer leaving empty rows in between cars in the morning. And the third big little change at Universal recently has been early park admission, shifting back from Islands of Adventure to Universal Studios Florida. It's expected to remain at USF's Diagon Alley only for the next couple months. One change to note is that while Ollivander's was not open during EPA at Islands of Adventure, it is open early at Diagon Alley, and you're going to want to either get there right away or you'll have to sign up for a timed return reservation, which can run out quite quickly. Here's a few minor notes that you might have overlooked. In Marvel Superhero Island, I am happy to report that the comics shop has apparently solved their vendor issues and is once again selling single issues of comic books. And in Seuss Landing, If I Ran the Zoo has reopened to guests, with most of its functions working except for the water features, and the flag with the attraction's name on it, which had been blank for a while, has now been repainted with the If I Ran the Zoo name. In Universal Studios Florida, Kang & Kodos's Twirl and Hurl is no longer considered seasonal and is back to opening every day at 10 a.m. And better yet, Bruce the Shark from Jaws is also back. The famous photo op, which hangs near Shea Alcatraz in the San Francisco area, had been removed for refurbishment. He's back and looking better than ever, except that he's missing the rope, which should be tied around his mouth. Finally, we'll finish up in City Walk, where there's good news and bad news on the restaurant front. The good news is it looks like the Bubba Gump shrimp mascot is once again meeting and greeting guests. But the bad news for sushi fans is that the Fusion Bistro Sushi and Sake on the upper level has permanently closed. Look for it to be redeveloped into a new concept soon. All right, that's going to finish off all the little things for this month. I'm going to be taking the next few weeks off to review shows at the Orlando International Fringe Theater Festival, but I'll be back next month with more little things from around the Universal Orlando Resort. Until then, you can check out my books at theunofficialguides.com, and I'll be keeping an eye on those little things for you.
I must say at this point, I'm incredibly jealous of Seth because he got to interview Kevin Smith the other day, by the way, which is awesome.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. How do we feel about social distancing and temperature checks and all the rest of that have come with it at the moment?
I'm happy with it. I'm just happy to see things slowly going back to normal. And let's be honest, for a long time, the social distancing markers have been really utilized more with the 3 feet rule as opposed to the 6 feet because most people don't pay attention to them anyway.
No.
So
Yeah, so now you're going to have 0 feet.
that's true, though.
No, I mean, I get it. Personally, I really wish they would have just held off just a little bit longer. I think we're trending in the right direction. Reports showing cases and all that kind of stuff, like I said, are going in a more positive route, but they could have just held out a little bit longer because while there is a vaccine out there, not everybody's had the opportunity to get it. Even those that are available or able to get it still kind of have issues getting it. So that's the way I feel. I would just wish they would have held off, maybe another month or so to give more people the opportunity, and even cast members that work there or, team members that work there. Just because, we have the opportunity to say, well, I'm not going to go. They don't really have the opportunity to say, I'm not going to come into work today.
That's very true.
So that's kind of how I see it, but not the worst decision in the world, I guess.
No.
Yeah, I've never agreed with the temp checks. I always thought that was a stupid concept.
Agreed.
Because you don't just spike a fever at 10 o'clock in the morning when you're walking into the theme park, and so especially at Universal, they put a wristband on you after you've had your temp checked, and you don't have to scan it again at any other point throughout your day, back into the hotels or skipping parks or whatever. So what if you spike a temp in the middle of the day? What if you start getting sick at 2 p.m.?
Yeah.
I just always thought that was a stupid
Well, I mean, the other thing too is if you want to get around that is if I know my temperature is a little elevated, I could always pop 2 Advils, drop it temporarily, get past the check, and I'm done. So I agree with you. The temp checks isn't a major thing for me. I kind of enjoyed a little bit more the spacing. Obviously, I enjoyed having spacing on rides, period, even without COVID.
Yep.
I did too.
I think that's where, just having more congregation in areas is going to be kind of the crappy part. But to play devil's advocate, because I was just there. So, and me and Lex and I were laughing at this, right? We're going, what did we ride? Oh, we're riding Kong. And, you're spaced out in line, you're spaced out. They have little walls while you're waiting to get inside, and you're not allowed to like load inside like everybody at once. They'll tell you. So they'll load like the first row and the third row. So there's a space in between, and then they load the other ones. Then you have the panels in between, and you're like, man, that's really good.
Yeah.
When you get off the ride, everybody just comes off and everybody's congregated together. So it's kind of, it's half-assing over there.
Yeah.
But
well, also like now they're filling all the seats. So let's keep you 3 feet apart all the time and while you're in line, even though the people next to you are going to be sitting next to you in the ride. So keep apart, but then we're going to shove you in this little tiny ride together where you're bumping elbows. You know?
No, I'm with you on that. That just started right after we finished our trip, which, you know, both Alexa and I are vaccinated. So obviously we don't have as great a concern. There are concerns, you know, in other areas of unknowns, but for the most part, we're, you know, a lot more, you know, we still wear a mask, we still do all that stuff. But I guess when we go back to ride and have people next to us like that, it's going to feel kind of weird. I'm not going to lie. Just because I haven't had that happen in a while.
Yeah,
I know, right?
And that's the thing that we haven't experienced. That, you know, the parks are going to be the same as when we come back. Hopefully, the parks will be the same as they were when we left last time. So it's not like we've had that transition that you guys have.
No, for sure. When you come around, it's going to be exactly how it was before.
I hope so. To be fair,
I mean, it's halfway there, and we're still
pretty much. Yeah,
you'll be fine.
So they're really leaning on the tribute stores. Like, that's a stretch.
Really are.
Is that a stretch? Jurassic World. It's really weird. Michelle, we need to have a word with them. I want a UUOP the Weekender one next year.
Right?
Can you imagine a tribute? It'd be awesome. A Weekender tribute store would be amazing.
It would be. What are they going to fill with that many rooms for Jurassic Park, Jurassic World?
A lot of people are hoping that they bring the Isla Nublar that's in Hollywood over and have that as part of it.
Huh.
Which I could
I
see
don't think
them
it's
doing.
going to be all the rooms like they did before.
Maybe.
It'll probably just be like two.
Yeah.
But fun fact, if you can make it there on the last day, you'll save a lot of money on merch.
If it's all there, though, that's the thing.
No, No, I'm just saying from our trip, we didn't realize that Sunday was the last day of Mardi Gras.
Right. All right.
And so we went inside the store, and they're like, oh, just so you know, everything's 70% off and up. I'm like, what?
Wow, dang. I should have had you get me a mask.
I bought stuff that I didn't need. So I have a bumper plate for Mardi Gras that I paid like $3 for.
Wow. Oh, just think all the Producers Club giveaway items we could have got for $3 a piece.
I know, Chris, you failed us.
I'm a total failure. I'm so sorry.
Chris Dunn failed us now to turn that Mardi Gras quote round.
What
else? What
something
else
you brought to our attention earlier that you and I both talked about. It's new.
Yeah, so one of the other little things, not to steal your segment, Seth, but another little thing that we had just noticed is new creepies over in New York. So
no, they're in Central Park.
Central Park. Yeah, it's in New York.
Is it?
Kind of. Central Park is in New York.
Central
That's
Park
true.
is
You're
in
right.
New York.
It is.
I know what you're saying, Lee, but
yeah.
yes, we're both technically right.
You're right. You're right.
They have a new raspberry and passion fruit cream and a plant-based chicken with that little apostrophe N crepe from Central Park Crepes. So I guess today was the first day because it's the first time I'm seeing of it. And yeah, they're what is it? $9.99 for the chicken or the plant-based chicken, and then the other one is $8.99. So I'm going to get my passion fruit on.
So I will state for Rate My Crepe that raspberry thing is not part of it because it's seasonal. So you can't vote for that one.
I really hope Jillian gets it and sends you it. Like,
she will.
Just to mess with you.
She will.
She will. Yeah.
I expect it now.
There you go, Jillian. You got to eat these.
Oh,
I guess I should pick up.
yeah.
Do you want to talk anything else about these little things, or are we good?
I think we're good.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so Universal Orlando held a little media event last week to showcase some of the offerings for the Summer Food Festival that started on Saturday. Check out our post on uuopodcast.com for now, as we are going to cover it more in 2 weeks' time, because this week's show is all about the VelociCoaster, baby.
Yeah, I just want to briefly mention there, really. So, Chris, we talked about, and Michelle as well, how we hope that food festival thing for Mardi Gras comes back. And I think this is another test of how well this goes down, that I think they're definitely seriously looking at bringing these more to the parks, which I am so happy about.
Super welcome this stuff,
Yes.
because especially when like lunch rush happens, you got more options.
Yeah,
Plus-
I'm happy about it too.
Definitely.
They're also selling a grilled cheese and tomato bisque, so sign me the hell up.
Right, so as Seth said, the Jurassic World VelociCoaster has been open for team member and pass holder previews and is now open for technical rehearsal. Not all the time, but if you're there, you might get on it. So we're going to dig into what we know about it right now. And I will say that Chris mentioned that he was there the other weekend, and this show was supposed to be anchored by Chris's review, but unfortunately, something came up and you didn't actually make it onto the ride, did you, Chris?
I did not, and I was very, very sad. We had something that happened. We had to unfortunately cut our trip short. So yeah, we literally, that Monday was our ride time, and then we had to cut it short then and head back home. So we were extremely bummed, and I was looking forward to doing some live streaming and recording inside the queue and all that fun stuff. So sorry, Jeff, I don't have the review you're looking for right now. I truly apologize, because he's been bugging me for it.
But that being said, we do have reviews. So the way we're going to do this show is Universal have posted a blog. We're going to dig into that and discuss the info that they've got, and then we're going to discuss that ourselves. And then we've got some reviews. Our listeners have sent reviews in, so you're going to get to hear first-hand reviews, just unfortunately not ours. Michelle, have you got any plans to go anytime soon?
No, not until the first week of September for the opening of HHN.
September?
Yep.
Wow.
Well, we're going to Africa next month for 2 weeks. That's
All
kind of
right,
taking
then.
my budget up.
Fair enough. All right, cool. Right, so the first part of the blog post that Universal posted reads, "The coaster is first and foremost a thrill ride." I think that's pretty obvious, to be fair. The team developing Jurassic World VelociCoaster initially set out to bring a new thrill ride into Universal Islands of Adventure, and boy did they hit the mark with this ride. It has 4 inversions, 2 exhilarating launches. I thought I had more than 2. A one-of-a-kind 360-degree barrel roll right above the lagoon, which is the bit I am most looking forward to. An inverted zero-gravity stall that will send riders upside down across 100 feet of track, and a 155-foot tall top hat with a 140-foot drop at 80 degrees. Hold on to your butts, am I right? So let's discuss this before we play the little clip. So for me, that barrel roll that everyone's dubbing the Mosasaur barrel roll over the lagoon, if you look at where the entrance to the ride is, you can stand and it's right in front of you, that roll. Chris, did you actually go down to the entrance of it at any point?
We couldn't. So we tried the day before on Sunday. Was it Saturday or Sunday? One of the 2 days we tried to go before, and they actually had it blocked off. So you can only check in for your ride times and then get through.
All right.
To have access to that area down there.
Okay.
So unfortunately not.
Because that area looks super cool from the pictures and videos I've seen. It looks awesome.
Surprisingly, I'm not scared of that barrel roll. I'm scared of the zero gravity stall.
Really?
Yeah, because you only have that lap bar, and anytime there's a zero gravity stall like that, your butt does come out of the seat. So that,
Michelle.
like a barrel roll, it kind of gravity keeps you in, you know? Ugh, that part's going to freak me out.
Have you ever done one of those before on a coaster, Michelle, then?
I did in Dollywood.
I love them.
But that one had a shoulder harness, like a full-on shoulder harness. But yeah, I mean, you were like hanging upside down, fully with your shoulders on the harness. So that's gonna be freaky.
I can't wait. That is my favourite bit. It looks awesome. Right, so the first of our listeners we are going to hear from is Austin Cleary.
Hey UUOP, this is Austin Cleary. I rode Hagrid's whenever it first opened, and I didn't think anything could top it. But then I rode the VelociCoaster, and I've got to say, without all of the elements and everything up and running just because of testing currently, I've got to tell you, VelociCoaster is something next level. Can't wait for you guys to check it out. Thanks for 10 years, and here's to 10 more. All right, bye.
I mean, they're big words.
So he's saying that without all the effects running, it was still next level?
Yes.
Wow.
Because that seems to be the issue, is that a lot of the like in queue effects haven't necessarily been running because the like Musion section that you see with the at the launch, you can see the launch through the windows, can't you, in the queue? And there's like the Velociraptors come running after it. That is so awesome. Have you guys seen that?
No idea what you're talking about.
Really?
I don't want to watch the videos.
I don't either. I don't want to see videos either.
Can I spoil it,
have
though?
clicked on those POV videos and then
I've watched the whole thing.
unclicked every time 10 seconds and I can't do it.
Can we talk about it then? With again, if you're not going to watch it at least.
Well, I've seen the roller in person. I've seen it from multiple angles. I just haven't ridden it yet. So
there is a section in the queue where there are 4 square windows that you can see out onto, the launch that goes like under that bridge section, Chris, that you've posted videos of before.
Yes.
So you can see out from the queue into that launch. So the coaster flies past, and then it's kind of like Hogwarts Express, where the raptors come running after it in the glass, and like one of them stops and kind of snorts on the window and then runs after it. It's awesome.
That's so cool.
It's awesome.
And that's while you're waiting in line.
Yes.
Oh my God.
So have you guys not watched anything about it?
No, I don't mind talking about it. I don't mind reading about it, but I don't want to see it yet.
So have you heard, there's animatronics in the queue then?
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I've seen those videos.
Okay.
I've seen like queue videos and stuff like that. I just cannot get myself to start at the launch and go. Can't do it. I won't do it.
Nope.
Not gonna happen.
I
want to be totally surprised. Mainly I don't want to chicken out. I'm afraid that if I see it, I might like talk myself out of it and be more scared. So I just yeah.
My fear is if I see it, I'll go into massive depression for not being able to ride it. So that's my fear.
Look, it doesn't matter for me. It's 18 months before I'm going to get to ride it, so it's fine. But the raptors in the animatronics are so cool.
Oh my God, yeah.
So awesome.
Yeah, so the adrenaline will be nonstop. So once you're strapped in and VelociCoaster starts going, you are in for over 2 minutes of nonstop adrenaline spanning more than 4,700 feet of ride track. Nice. The ride has no brakes until it's over, which means you get no brakes until it's over.
Wow.
It doesn't even slow down. In fact, it actually speeds up. The second half of the ride is faster than its first. So it ups its own game throughout the entire experience.
Wow. Let's just
talk.
my
God.
So I love how Universal's blog hypes themselves up. It's awesome.
What makes me laugh is it says you're in for over 2 minutes. I think we watched a ride-through video, Tracy and I, and it's like 2 minutes and 11 seconds. So they're being very generous of over 2 minutes. The only thing I can think of that reading that puts me in mind of, the only coaster that I've ridden that makes me think of that is, and I think, Chris, we've talked about it before, is Manta at SeaWorld.
Yes. What do you mean, like just the length or how it feels?
How intense? Because they're basically saying it starts and just gets more intense as it goes. And Manta's like that. There is no let up on that coaster whatsoever.
No, there's not. Halfway through, I'm hating it. So, yeah.
So, Michelle, how do you feel about that?
That made my heart race a little bit, I have to say. Because the launches, like, I knew there were launches, but I've kind of gotten used to those now on Hagrid's. However, on Hagrid's, you do slow down before another launch. So then when this is like, wait, what do you mean? It doesn't ever slow down, but there's a second launch. Oh, God.
So I think also, just to not terrify you too much, so there's no brakes, but there are areas, at least from what I can see on the outside, where it has to go against gravity, so it naturally slows itself down a bit.
That top hat, when you reach the top of that top hat, it's got to slow down.
Yeah.
That inverted stall has to slow down a little bit.
There's a bunch of
well.
spots, though. No, there's a bunch of like ups that you do throughout the ride, at least the 2 different angles that I've seen. Even the one that I was videoing from, you can kind of see it have to go up a couple times. So I think that's going to naturally slow you down, but the yelling and screaming did not. It consisted the entire time. So.
Oh, God.
Oh, my God. I can't. I'm so gutted I'm not going to be there the first time Michelle rides this.
I made you make a trip just to go see Michelle scream.
Oh my God, I would pay money for that so much.
Maybe we'll get Chris on it too. Who knows?
Oh God, no, you will not. That child barely rides the Woody Woodpecker coaster.
Okay, so we'll leave Chris with Alexa again, and me and you can ride it.
What? I need Alexa to hold my hand. Unless you're going to hold my hand, Chris, because somebody is sure holding my hand.
If you value your hand, Chris, don't take her up on that offer.
You might not have fingers left afterwards.
Exactly.
Look like Dumbledore's after wearing them for a while.
Oh, goodness. All right.
So next up, we are going to hear from a good friend of ours, Chris Azell.
What is up, UUOP fam? It's Chris, or Dr. Evil, whatever you want to call me. I made a special trip down from Pensacola back to Universal, knowing that VelociCoaster was having its technical rehearsal. It has definitely been a trip of changes, returns, new experiences all wrapped up into one. I kind of expected this is the busiest I've seen the park, with VelociCoaster doing its technical rehearsal, and it's a Saturday, and it's getting close to a holiday weekend. I was kind of surprised that there was no temperature checks anymore. I somehow had missed that, but yeah, no more temperature checks whenever you come in. And that's allowed people to kind of forget to leave a personal space bubble a little bit, which is unfortunate. But on the plus side, it is nice to see Camp Jurassic open again. There's a lot of small experiences that have been closed that feel like they're opening back up. Hagrid's today was just wait in the queue instead of a virtual queue. However, despite all that, spoilers, there was a 105-minute wait for VelociCoaster, despite the fact that people are crammed in like sardines and we no longer have to do temperature checks. Poseidon's Fury is still not open. I'm very distraught about this. But on the plus side, you can still go over to Reign of Kong and get a Kong Dong. So
did that for a while.
As for VelociCoaster itself, without giving away too much of the queue and that kind of stuff, the ride's amazing. Hulk and, for some people, Rip Ride Rocket have been kind of the more intense roller coasters here.
Michelle.
I definitely say that that crown has been stolen on that front. And then over with Hagrid's, it had been winning with the lazy magical creatures on the side of the ride that are real. The statues in the ride. Those animatronics or statues have been great, and I love Hagrid's. Hagrid's is amazing. But you see those in Hagrid's and you're like, oh man, cool. They got a unicorn or, you know, whatever here. This is awesome. In VelociCoaster, whenever you see those VelociCoaster statues in the ride, you think those things are going to kill you. They're terrifying in the best way possible. I'm sure you guys have already looked into the layout. The barrel rolls over the water are fantastic. That launch that really just cranks you up to 70 miles per hour, just kind of takes your breath away, is a fantastic ride. Like I said, it said 105-minute wait. I think I waited about 60. So if you're in the area, now they're doing technical rehearsals. If you're willing to stand in the crowd, do it. It's absolutely worth it. So glad I got to come out and do this. Really bummed out that we're not going to get to see you guys this year, but we're all just waiting for the next weekender, and can't wait to see you guys then. All right, so this is Dr. Evil, out. Peace.
Chris knows me. I could hear the port of entry music in the background there.
Yeah.
Michelle, are you feeling any less nervous after that clip?
No.
We should have somebody like review it on the ride. That'd be great.
That would be awesome.
And then let Michelle hear that.
Yeah.
Oh, God. You should try to record me reviewing
Yes,
it on the
that's
ride.
where I went. Michelle, you need to... Oh, you won't be able to, will you? Because your phone will be in the locker. I was going to say, if you have your phone in your pocket and just like put the recorder on.
There's got to be something I can figure out, because I'm sure that commentary would be hilarious.
Oh, it would.
Aren't people using like those recording glasses to get on this?
No,
it might just be a big long beep the whole time, though. I don't know.
See, I've just realised we missed a trick at the last weekend, and we should have mic'd Michelle up going through the Horror Nights houses. That would have been amazing.
That would be amazing.
Oh, God.
That's what we're doing next.
Backup audio from Robin too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because have we heard whether there's metal detectors at any point in it yet?
I would assume there is. I mean,
I've watched walkthroughs and stuff and have not seen any in the queue unless they're
because
after
you have
the lockers.
So the lockers, they're halfway through the queue.
Yeah, so
you're having to put your stuff away and then you're going through a metal detector.
That's a good point. Yes.
Yeah, but are there any inversions actually over people?
Yeah.
There's a couple.
It's an inversion over the bridge?
Yes.
Okay.
2.
I mean, even so, it doesn't matter, right? Because
there's no nets up
doesn't
or
have any
anything.
inversions over people.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, and there's nets up.
Yeah, the nets are up and everything.
Oh, the bridge.
Yeah. But yes, you're right. The metal detectors are probably after the lockers, which is why I won't have seen anything, because every vlog I've watched, they'll have put the camera away at that point.
Yeah.
The environment will add to the thrill. Surrounding VelociCoaster are a whole slew of incredible foliage, plant species, and rockwork that don't only fully immerse you in the jungle setting of Jurassic World, but literally make the ride more thrilling. The team working to combine the roller coaster and the environment, including the 36,000 square feet of rockwork, aimed to make it feel like the attraction itself has teeth. Bonus, the environment will also add to the convenience. VelociCoaster offers the first ever dual-sided lockers at Universal Orlando Resort. You will be directed in by Mr. DNA himself to one side of the lockers to drop off your belongings after having been through most of the queue. Don't worry, we know you want to snap those pictures of the raptors.
Of course.
And then after the ride, you'll head to a whole other area that holds the other side of the locker so you can retrieve your belongings easily.
This is awesome. I've said this before. I'm sure there's an attraction at Alton Towers over here that has dual-sided lockers, and it's such. I can't believe this is the first time that anywhere's really tried to do it in the US, or at least
it's such a smart idea. I don't
know. It
know
really is.
So
why it's taken them so long.
Here's the thing. So I'd love. I'll see it eventually, and we haven't heard anything bad about it. But if we talked about this prior, you guys wouldn't think this is a bad idea.
No, because like I say, I've experienced it, so I know how well it works.
Okay, I mean it's working well over here.
What makes you think it's a bad idea,
I would
Chris?
say that's going to back up the line.
Why?
If it's inside the queue, instead of just continually walking, you're now stopping to put it away. Have you seen how long it takes people to put stuff in lockers? Have you not had a family put? So
you're talking about the locker. You're talking about where the lockers are, not necessarily being dual-sided.
Yeah. I'm not even getting to that. I'm talking about just having a queue. Now, again, it's working because I haven't heard anything bad yet. But
it's kind of that way in Hagrid's. But what sucks about it is, I guess it sucks or is good, whichever side of the fence you're on. But if you have a bag, you get pulled aside to go into the lockers. If you don't have a bag and you're the person next, you get to go on, continue in the line.
Yeah.
So while you're putting your bags in lockers, people are getting in ahead of you. So, I mean,
I wonder if that's the way they're doing it then. So if you haven't got anything, you just get to carry on, and if you need a locker, they'll pull you into the locker section, and maybe
it's just weird to me because I think of once you're inside the queue, I think of Hagrid's, and it's very narrow and small in there, so you'd have to have a large area to kind of roam around to be able to put your bags away. I don't know.
The locker room, from what I've seen from the vlog, seems pretty big. But yes, the potential of it to back up is there. But I think you've got to look at it from Universal's point of view. They've done it so people have their phones so they can take pictures of. It's free advertising, isn't it? Let's be honest. But the dual-sided thing is genius.
I think so too, because
Absolute
it's a pain in the butt going back into those locker rooms.
Yep.
Especially at Gringotts, and people are trying to put stuff in. People are trying to take stuff out. It's a pain. So that's smart.
Yep, I agree.
What's also interesting is that I'm thinking about it now. I'm looking at the locker room. It's pretty good size. You can move around in there, but there's not a whole lot of lockers. And by doing this, putting the lockers closer to where the ride is, it reduces the amount of lockers you really need, right?
Yes, because you're
only having to take
people
whatever
in the
capacity
line
you can from that point on. You're not having to do a whole 3-hour line. And
that's true.
That's a really good point.
It's actually really smart.
Yeah, you've hit a really good point there because, like you say, if they're outside, anybody who wants to ride that ride is going to try and get a locker, whereas when they're in the middle of it, you've only got the people who are in the queue at that point going to put things in the locker.
Yeah, and pretty close to the ride because if you're going through most of the queue, being able to take pictures, that's really smart.
It really is. I'm interested.
Good job.
I'm interested for you to ride it now, Chris, and actually talk about it firsthand after that discussion.
I'm very interested in me riding it too.
But as far as the rock work and stuff, that ride looks amazing. It really does. It adds so much. I mean, I haven't seen it in person, just videos and stuff, and the little bit that was going on in the construction when we were over last February. But it just adds so much more to Jurassic Park.
Lee, as somebody who spent too many hours sitting and just staring at a roller coaster going by, it's freaking gorgeous.
Yeah.
It is gorgeous. It completely takes you out of where you are, and it just sitting, like when you're looking through like the fencing and all that, it is escapism at its best. You really feel like you're somewhere else. It's amazing work these guys did.
And it needed, I've always said Jurassic Park was bland. There wasn't an awful lot in there to kind of keep your attention. It was well themed for what it was, but there wasn't really anything there to kind of make it feel more than it was, and this definitely adds to it.
It does. Yep. All right. Well, Jeff and Nicole Hunter's thoughts are up next.
Hello, everybody. This is Jeff and Nicole Hunter checking in. We just got off the VelociCoaster. We were actually there at 8 a.m. Monday morning to check in for the media preview. So we were fortunate enough to be able to go a couple of times, actually. We did the front row, back row, and center row. And all I can say is I am absolutely impossibly blown away by that thing. We were kind of mentioning the theming and everything. You're in the queue and you almost forget that you're about to go on this intense, amazing roller coaster. Totally breathtaking. Jeff, what was your thoughts on the coaster?
I'm speechless. I mean, it was just being fortunate enough to be here at the media event. Just getting the pictures and footage of stuff that you wouldn't be able to normally get was it's unlike anything else. I mean, and just the ride itself was so intense. I mean, that's the best way to describe it. Intense.
Yes.
So fun.
So our main word: intense, awesome, amazing. Can't wait to do it again. Can't wait for all you guys to do it. Lee will definitely be sharing pictures with you, and can't wait for you guys to ride it. All right, talk to you guys soon. Bye.
Michelle, does the word intense make you feel any better?
You know, it did pique my curiosity there because it is a reoccurring word. And I don't know if intense is like, it's going to be, that can be like amazing intense, kind of like HHN, like it's intense for me, but it's like a fun intense. And then there's like intense, like skydiving, in which I would literally poop my pants intense.
Yeah.
So
that's the one he was going for.
Yeah,
so I don't know like which side of the spectrum to go for.
Well, when we finished all these clips up at the end of the show, because there is a recurring theme, because I've listened to all of these already. Let's see what your take on the word intense is later on.
Okay.
I'm sure it's going to be figuratively.
I agree with you. It's making me slightly nervous because you know firsthand that riding coasters doesn't always agree with me.
Even though you like them, they just make you sick sometimes.
I have motion sickness and it's getting worse as I get older. And it does worry me ever so slightly that how intense I hear this is. I'm still going to ride it. I don't care. I'll take like 600 Dramamine and off we go. But
dude, save it for the end of your trip, please.
It does worry me.
I mean, I'm still going to ride it. But the end of this podcast will determine whether or not I need to wear a Depends while I do so.
Or a diaper.
That is a diaper.
All right.
Depends is an adult diaper.
I didn't know that. I am British.
I guess that's an American thing. Look at that. Branding.
Wow.
Okie doke. Right. We are going to come back in a second because we've got way more listener stuff to get to. But we're going to take a quick break because if you want to go and hit VelociCoaster, these are the guys you want to get in touch with.
Have you taken a stroll down Diagon Alley and visited Gringotts Bank? Taken a ride through New York with Jimmy Fallon? Visited the truffle trees in Seuss Landing or hung out with a real-life Transformer? No? Then what are you waiting for? At Universal Orlando Resort, there truly is an option for everyone. Or if you're leaning a little more towards pixie dust rather than wands and potions, Disney destinations around the globe await your arrival. No matter the adventure, our sponsors have you covered. Be sure to let the experts at Mouse & Muggle Travel Company take care of all your travel needs. earning the distinction of being an earmarked agency specializing in Disney destinations, as well as becoming one of the first to be named a You Preferred agency with Universal Parks and Resorts Vacations. Mouse and Muggle Travel Company will ensure you receive top-rated customer service. Just visit mouseandmuggle.com to fill out a no-obligation quote request, or send your request to info@mouseandmuggle.com. Their team can take care of you no matter where in the world you want to go. With a flick of their wand and a little bit of pixie dust, the process will be so seamless, some might even say it's simply magical.
Welcome back, everyone. We are talking about the Jurassic World VelociCoaster and continuing on looking at Universal Orlando's blog post. They have said that the coaster and raptor encounter will tie together. So once VelociCoaster opens, you'll really be able to see a full story thread throughout both attractions. It will be very clear that the new raptor encounter paddock exists because the handlers are trying to train the raptors to deal with the various elements of the park, and that story continues to some degree in VelociCoaster. That's awesome. That we're trying to tell a story. I love, see, all the big complaints about roller coasters back in the day where they're just unthemed thrill rides. And I love that this especially, you know, you saw it with Hagrid's, but Hagrid's is, I wouldn't call it a family coaster, but it's not a coaster. Yet they've managed to take something that, from what we can gather already, is a coaster, and add a story and a theme and really make it something more than just steel.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. The raptor encounter, the new location, is really cool too.
So let's move on and hear from Judson Whitfield.
VelociCoaster is an absolutely fantastic experience from beginning to end. When you're walking up, you have the top hat coming down at you going one way, to the mosasaur roll screaming back the other, to the queue with 3 different flavors of raptor with statues in the front, with the roller coaster little model inside of it. You have the digital raptors on that augmented reality screen or whatever it is in the middle, and then the animatronic raptors in the cages with the crates at the end of it. For a second at the end of it, it looked like one of them might have been in a B mode or whatever. Its eye was closed, so I took a little video just for posterity's sake, and then the eye opened and shook the crate and let a raptor screech, and all 6 feet, 250 pounds of me kind of jumped back for a second. Then the locker situation makes so much sense, especially considering how popular this ride is going to be. You get to have your phones for entertainment and drinks and snacks to stay hydrated and to avoid being hangry. All of everything that you would need as a guest and team member to keep everybody safe, but also keep everybody content. Then the ride itself is phenomenal. There's basically 2 halves to the ride, and because of that, you should probably get a ride in the front half of the car as well as the back half of the car, because they're basically 2 different rides. The front half has all of these really cool tight elements with near miss elements and head choppers, the raptor statues that you get a really great view of if there's nothing in front of you. And then the back half of the ride has a bunch of these bigger swooping elements with a lot of negative G-forces, and the airtime is just immense. I was out of my seat for almost half of it. For anybody who's concerned about the ride being too intense, I wouldn't say this is any more intense than the Hulk is, especially because of the restraints. It doesn't hurt anywhere near as badly as the Hulk can because of those over-the-shoulders with the hard shells on them. It is a fantastic ride. It's the best ride in the park. It is probably the best roller coaster in Florida. It definitely is until Iron Gwazi opens up later this year. And even then, it's going to be close. It's a phenomenal ride. To the listeners, I hope that you guys get out there and ride it as soon as possible. And to Lee and Tracy, next September will be here before you know it. Thanks, guys.
So when you mentioned earlier about the inverted store, Michelle, and your butt being out of the seat, I knew this clip was coming. I didn't say anything back then.
So I'm riding in the front half of the car.
I can imagine something like this with the launches, that back row is going to be crazy intense.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the back of coasters generally either because of that reason. I don't like the, whipped around feeling.
We also get more G's back there.
You do get a lot more. I mean, say again, I'm comparing it to Manta at SeaWorld. I know you hate it, Chris. To be fair, I understand why. We did second from back row, and that. If this is anything like that, wow, you're in for a ride. Because, yeah. Tracy said she rode Manta and nearly greyed out, which isn't a good thing to happen on a coaster.
I grayed out on Manta too, so tell her we're gray buddies.
Oh, Michelle.
You should ride Manta, Michelle.
Oh.
No.
You'll love it.
One extreme coaster at a time, okay?
Okay.
I was talking to a good friend of the show, Christina, at the weekend, and she doesn't ride big thrill rides. She's going to Orlando in a week, I think. So we were discussing her options because they're going to that other place down the road, and she's going to ride some music-themed coaster down there as her first inverted coaster. And I'm like, yeah, that's quite an easy one. And then I've told her to do Rip Ride Rocket first, then Hulk, then VelociCoaster to ease herself in. Michelle, you won't even reach.
How is that easing yourself in?
What?
That is not nice. Don't listen to him. Do not ride Rip Ride Rocket first.
Oh, whatever. No.
It's only the beginning that's bad.
So you think...
Listen to them.
Give over, Michelle. Have you actually been on it?
No, because it's that bad.
Then no, but you can't... Hang on. You can't say something's that bad having never experienced it.
I can when I've been with people who have gone on it while I waited for them, and they come back and tell me that was the worst experience of their life. They're one and done, and one of them actually blacked out on the damn thing.
Oh my God. Then I would... Chris, please back me up. Blacked out on Rip Ride Rocket.
Yep, at the first drop.
It is very difficult to black out on Rip Ride Rocket.
It is...
Just because I've never gone black. Like, Hulk blacks me out, for sure. That
Hulk,
first little
I'm fine with Hulk.
See, that launch and little flip there always not blacks me out, but grays me out pretty nicely because I literally see the sun dimming.
I don't understand.
It's just that like anticipation going up and then coming down. It's a nice fall.
Once you get I understand why people don't like that vertical lift hill. Personally, I love it, but once you get past that, it's just a fun coaster. It's not intense at all.
It really is a good roller coaster. And actually, I love that hill. The only thing that gets me about that hill is the fear of getting stuck on top of it because it happens way too often. But aside from that, it's great.
But Michelle, it's not intense. For someone to come off and say they blacked out, that's got to be 1 in a million.
She doesn't black out on. She likes intense roller coasters and is not scared of them in the least. But for some reason, it blacked her out.
I don't understand that then. I've done that with her. How old was Jade the first time she rode it? She'll have been 10.
Oh, God. Chris is 10. There's no way
Jade rode it when she was 10. And I think if you go back and listen to the show where we reviewed it, and it was the first time she'd ever done a big coaster, she was buzzing coming off it.
Wow. Well, Jade is a different species. We know this.
Oh, yeah. Trust me, I know that firsthand. Anyway...
All right. Well, kind of like Judson said, you're going to want to ride in both the front row and the back row at least once because they're unique experiences either way. If you're sitting in the front row, you'll experience extreme airtime as you ride over the top of the hat. Over the top hat, though. Yep. My words are off. And in the back row of the train, you will experience extreme air times as you get pulled down over the 80-degree drop on the other side of that top hat. Either way, you're getting extreme airtime.
Oh, Michelle, it doesn't matter where you're sitting, you're getting it.
Look at that.
Oh, I have never had so much fun. What you want to do is
leave a few inches of looseness on that lap bar so you can get real airtime.
Yeah.
No,
Just remember that, Michelle.
I think I need to gain like 10 pounds so that the things are like really snug on me and I feel nice and secure.
It's such a shame that they don't offer video like they do on Rip Ride Rocket with this because that would be YouTube gold. Talk about viral videos. There's one right there. Oh, I love airtime.
Yeah.
I don't mind airtime if I feel secure. I just don't know that the lap restraint's going to make me feel secure.
I don't see. It'd be interesting. I'm trying to think. Chris, have you rode Mako?
Yeah.
Does that go over the shoulder? It hasn't, has it?
That's the one with the huge drops, right?
Yes. The newest one.
Not. It is literally just a lap bar. That's what we've been kind of comparing.
Yeah, I don't think I've been on an inverted coaster without a shoulder restraint. I don't think it'd bother me. Oh, Michelle.
Which is the one? Hold on, let me look up something real quick.
Oh, Michelle.
There's one at Six Flags in Atlanta. It's not inverted though, but really, really huge hills, steep hills with just a lap bar.
Yeah, it sounds like Mako. Mako's the same.
Your feet can't touch anything.
Oh, it's a flawless coaster then. Like, you ever done Kraken at SeaWorld?
No, because the only time I've been there was with Krista when she was like 4, and it was just me and her, so I couldn't ride anything. But yeah, so like you have no ability to brace yourself. Yeah. So,
what are you looking at, Chris?
So there's a roller coaster. I'm trying to remember. I'm not sure it was Busch Gardens that is strictly a lap bar. Maybe Cheetah Hunt must be, is it? No, Cheetah, you're strapped down. What? Not Cobra's Curse, not Tigress. Huh. Never mind. Oh, wait. Here it is. Which one is this one? No, never mind. Forget what I'm saying. Move along.
Okay.
I guess let's go over to Kenneth for his thoughts.
By the way, I barely edited this. Kenneth's reviews are normally 10 to 12 minutes long.
Hey, UUOP. This is Kenneth. Call in with my reaction to the VelociCoaster. I got off it probably about an hour ago, and I've been collecting my thoughts, my brains from all around me, all over the floor, because it blew my mind. So all of my brain stuff was scattered everywhere. It is an intense ride. I'll give it that. Quick thoughts. If you wear glasses and you normally wear them on a coaster, you'll want to leave them in the locker for this one. I had to hold on to mine. I took them off and held them in my hand because the first turn knocked my glasses all lopsided on my face, and it was scary. Also, the ride itself is really smooth. Like, the track is smooth, but the moves are very rough. So it is easily the most intense and scary roller coaster I've ever ridden. But all of it is very intentional. It's on purpose, It never feels dangerous. It just feels like, whoa, this is a lot wilder of a ride than I have ever been on or was expecting it to be. Yeah, it is crazy. I can't wait to ride it again. But anyway, yes, wild ride, crazy ride. Loved it. Very intense. And definitely not for the faint of heart. We have a new king of coasters in the parks. I think it matches Hagrid's on the theming level, and it way 10 times exceeds it on the thrill level. So if that's what you wanted, boy, are you in for a treat. All right, this is Kenneth from Rush of Fear and Pangolin and the vlog, signing off. See you guys later.
How are you feeling, Michelle?
Kenneth. Oh my God. If Kenneth is somewhat speechless, then I'm in for it.
Oh, I'm so gutted we're not going to be there. It's the treat of the century. That word was very intense. Very intense was what he used.
Very intense. And Kenneth isn't scared of things like that.
It'd be like Tracy saying something was scary.
Yeah.
That would terrify me.
Right? Like if Tracy thought a haunted house was scary, I just wouldn't go in it.
Yeah. What is the scariest coaster you've been on at this point, Michelle, would you say?
Well, probably Superman at Six Flags.
Six Flags.
Atlanta.
I'm just going to look it up.
Yeah, I didn't like that one either. It's just like Manta.
It's a flying one.
Six Flags over Georgia.
Yes.
It doesn't look that bad.
Well, it's the restraint system. Yeah. It's how you're flying head first on the
Oh, is it like Manta then?
Yeah, for the third time, it's like Manta.
All right.
What is the restraint system like on Manta? Is it like a
exact same thing?
So you sit
exact same thing where it's like that weighted vest thing on you?
Yeah.
You dangle.
Yeah.
Ugh, made me so sick, and I was terrified.
Oh my God.
It does that same weird loop that Manta does that I hate.
It just makes me feel like I'm going to puke right then and there. But that's probably the scariest, honestly.
Okay.
Like, I like Hulk. Hulk, it gives me butterflies every time, but I still like it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't like Hulk.
I like Rock and Roller Coaster, like the launch. I love Hagrid's.
I haven't done Hulk since 2013, so I can't possibly.
It just hurts me too much.
Yeah. I was
like
again
it bangs
talking
your head around.
Yes. I was talking to when I was talking to Christina, her husband John came in, and that's exactly what he said. He hates the way it bashes his heads off the restraints.
Mm-hmm.
I don't let them seat me in the back. They sit me in the front. I usually get in the front car and it doesn't bang me around as much.
Come on then, Michelle, move this thing along because I need to hear the rest
me.
of these clips.
Sorry. Okay. It is going to be so much more than a coaster. While the team developing the ride was always committed to making sure adrenaline and thrill were at the forefront, in order for VelociCoaster to truly stand out, they knew they needed to also pull in the unique environment of the Jurassic World franchise wherever they could. This happens through horticulture, through the velociraptors you'll be racing on the ride, and all the rockwork and elements in the paddock. You will literally be eye to eye with dinosaurs. So yes, there is thrill being delivered on several different levels.
And that's kind of what Chris said, didn't he, in his review, that when you fly past those raptor statues, that you feel like you're going to die.
That's cool, though. I'll like that part.
Yes. Yeah. Oh.
So let's hear from Kyle Plunkett.
Hey everybody, Kyle Plunkett here. I recently got a chance to ride the new VelociCoaster at Islands of Adventure on Wednesday. All I could say is it's thrilling, scary, and fun all in one. It makes Hagrid's look like Fast and the Furious. Definitely my new favorite roller coaster. Stay safe out there and goodbye.
Wow, that's a double whammy for you, Lee.
That's pretty damning, isn't it? It makes Hagrid look like Fast and Furious. It is absolutely killing me at the moment. Like when Hagrid's opened, I was kind of bummed out watching everyone else ride it. But this one, even though I'm scared it might make me ill, watching everything about this is absolutely killing me.
It's for sure going to make you ill. If Hagrid's made you ill, this is.
No, again, so we've had the conversation. I am putting down the fact that I was ill on Hagrid, because bear in mind, I have now rode it 3 times and I was only ill once. Okay. So I am putting the fact that I was ill on Hagrid down to the fact that I had been up for about 20 hours at that point.
Yeah, jet lagged.
I hadn't really had a drink. I just rode Forbidden Journey, and that makes me nauseous. So don't
go to Jurassic. Don't go to VelociCoaster first thing.
No.
Maybe you should give your system time to acclimate.
Yeah. I wouldn't anyway, because we rode Hagrid on the Wednesday morning. We flew home with Claire, and I was fine. And then we rode it the Sunday night. We were over in February with Andy and Thomas and Lynette and them, and I was fine. So I think it was just a combination of a long day of traveling and Forbidden Journey.
Yeah.
So I'm not overly worried, but it's been a long time since I've rode it. Like I said, I haven't ridden Hulk in a long time. I did Mako twice in February, and twice was enough, and then I was like, I'm going to sit this next one out. So we'll see.
All right, moving on. There are a handful of hidden gems to keep an eye out for. I won't spoil them all for you because half the fun is trying to find them yourself, but I'd recommend keeping an eye out for a book by Dr. Ellie Sattler, taking a closer look at the attraction posters throughout the queue, and maybe even some nods to classic Islands of Adventure attractions.
Interesting. I've seen a book by Jeff Goldblum in the queue. Oh, his character, whatever he's called in the... What's he called?
Ian?
Malcolm.
Dr.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I didn't know there was nods to classic Islands attractions in there. That's cool.
Yeah, that'll be fun to look for.
Yes. Interesting.
That'll be a nice distraction from my butterflies.
Oh my God, Michelle's going to be so nervous waiting for that. I hope when you go for the first time that the queue's not massively long, because if you have to wait an hour for that thing, oh my God. If you do a Hagrid 7-hour queue for it, by the time you get there, who knows?
Oh, I definitely would not wait 7 hours for this ride.
Really?
No. No, the only reason I did Hagrid's is because I'm a Harry Potter freak.
She barely wants to ride it if they gave her a ride.
True. Fair enough.
This is
Why would
very
she
true.
wait longer for it?
Chris gets me.
Okay.
The next clip comes from Tom and Therese Brino.
Hey, this is Tom and Therese Brino. We just got off the VelociCoaster. All I can say is it's a crazy ride, totally unlike any other roller coaster I've done. We ended up in the second to last row. We were trying to get on the front row, but to be honest, it's just worth it no matter where you are. It's insanely fast. The top hat is just spectacular. That's all. Have a good one.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I think I've said the Mosasaur rolls a bit. I'm looking forward to the most, but I think that top hat, I just love. It's the one thing I've said that I'm disappointed with Doctor Doom, that you don't stay at the top of that thing longer than you do, because the view over the parks is amazing, and that's what I'm looking forward to from that top hat.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm not scared of the top hat, surprisingly.
Why should you be? The rest of it's way worse.
Yeah.
Top hat's the easy part.
Yeah.
I think Michelle's always been at a point where she knew the top hat wasn't going to be that scary, but I wasn't going to be the scariest element. But I don't think she realized how much scarier all the rest of it was going to be.
No, I didn't. Well, once I saw it in person, I wasn't afraid of the top hat anymore, because it just looks worse in pictures.
Oh, no, it looks awesome. I've never done a top hat, to be fair, on a coaster before, so I'm quite excited for that. Especially a launch top hat. I think that would be pretty cool. I've never done one before.
Oh, Rip Ride Rocket's kind of a top hat.
Kind of. Michelle wouldn't know because she's never done it. I'm determined at some point to get you on that.
Nope.
Why?
Everybody that listens to this podcast knows why.
Oh, it just doesn't make sense. Having never ridden it, you are just...
if you ride this ride, you should definitely ride.
I mean, that's the point. That's the point. Chris made the perfect point. It's like people will look at you and go, you will ride that and you will ride that, but you won't ride that. It's like saying, I'll ride the Hulk and VelociCoaster, but Woody Woodpecker's Nut House Coaster? No way, it's way too intense.
People have some irrational fears. So I'll give a great example. Like my brother-in-law, he says he hates roller coasters, right? And what he hates about them is he doesn't like 0G feelings. He doesn't like that stomach thing, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I force him to get on these things. Like me and my sister will just nag at him, put him on the coaster, right? And he'll come off loving it. He goes, oh my God, that was amazing, this and that. So he really loves the feeling. He just says he hates the feeling. And we'll go back to the park and be like, well, try this one. And like, no. See, that one has 0G. And it's like the same exact thing. And it's one of these situations where it's like, you're going to ride the Hulk, but you won't ride like Hagrid's or something like that. You know?
But the element that I'm scared of is not in VelociCoaster.
But why are you scared of it?
What is the element again?
The lift hill.
The lift. How it's a slow lift with only a lap bar. And many people have felt like they have the sensation like they're going to fall out. And many times it gets stuck at the top.
No, it doesn't.
That's the only thing I will back you up on. The falling out thing, I've never felt that.
No.
Ever.
Because that seat behind you is huge. There's no way you're ever coming out of it.
Okay.
And then you say, it gets stuck at the top way too many times. For how many times a day that coaster goes over the course of the 11, 12 years that it's been open, it's not many times.
I'm just telling you, if it were with me on it, they would have to pull my dead body off of it. Whether it be with the fire department at the top of the hill or the ride people at the loading zone, I would be dead. I would just have a heart attack and die.
You heard it here, folks.
And I will tell you, if VelociCoaster starts having issues where it all of a sudden stops at the top of the top hat more often than I feel comfortable with, or stops in that inverted whatever it is, the stall, I might rethink that one too. But for now, it's running very smoothly.
Here's a question for you then, Michelle.
You can't get stopped there, by the way.
I know, right? So, Michelle, the spike in Hagrid's, you can't, but theoretically, if you could get stuck at the top of that spike, would that put you off?
Great. Now you gave me something else to be scared of. I never thought of that before.
You don't need to be scared because it's impossible. You can't get stuck at the top of it.
Yeah, like they designed the roller coasters to stop at
it's
specific
free fall.
areas.
It will go up and just fall backwards. It can't possibly stop there. But if it did, would it stop? Would it make it? It's not even that high.
If you're in the front row, it kind of is. But
it's really. The climb part, though. If that hill on Rip Ride Rocket were something that I were launched over, it's not as scary. It's just I just feel like that slow climb with no velocity behind it. We're totally relying on mechanics to get us to the top of that hill and over it really freaks me out. With momentum going, it's not as scary. That's why the top hat on VelociCoaster isn't as scary to me.
But if you think about it, just to throw this in there,
you guys are going to make me not want to ride VelociCoaster.
No, go on, Chris.
Careful.
Go on, Chris.
All mechanics, and it literally is all controlled. So they can stop it if they see anything wrong. If you're going just on momentum, it's very hard to stop at certain areas.
Oh, Chris, Michelle's never riding another coaster again.
Freaking me out, man.
Please,
let's get off her case. Let's move along here. So, VelociCoaster will be the first Jurassic World ride at Universal Orlando Resort. VelociCoaster takes place shortly before the events of the first Jurassic World film. Claire Deering has been instructed by her boss, Simon Masrani, to add more teeth to the park. Work has started on the Indominus Rex, but VelociCoaster is the first step while that exhibit is in development. This is the first time in Universal Orlando Resort history that the Velociraptors are front and center for an attraction. For that reason, the Raptor Pack, like that name, Blue, Charlie, Delta, and Echo are the stars.
Okay, right. I'm taking that piece and I'm going to do what theme park fans do. So, it will be the first Jurassic World ride. And the story is that they have started working on the Indominus Rex. So is that first as in first of many? And then if the Indominus Rex is being worked on to continue that story, is this them hinting that the Jurassic Park River Adventure will get the Hollywood Jurassic World, the ride makeover?
Oh, please, that'd be so amazing.
That's actually a really good,
That's a good assumption, I think.
Yeah, that's a really good assumption, yeah.
Because if they're setting that story up inside the VelociCoaster, then surely to pay that story off, they would have to bring the Indominus Rex in somewhere. And the easy way to do it would be to theme that and then just make the whole area Jurassic World at that point.
Well, they could totally overhaul the Discovery Center, too, to be more like Jurassic World with the holograms and things. That would be so cool.
Speaking of that, actually, if you look from that pop-up store, it seems like I couldn't see for definite because I didn't really get much of a walk around, but it looked like a lot of that stuff wasn't downstairs anymore. Like the statues and stuff, it didn't look like a lot of it was there. Which, to be fair, it's been knackered for years.
Yeah, that's a really good assumption there.
I hope so. Because that looks awesome. That Mosasaur tank at the beginning of it looks really, really cool.
Yeah. There's no reason not to do it, right? Because now if you have Jurassic World and Jurassic Park, you have an inconsistent story.
Yeah.
So
and Islands of Adventure is all about storytelling.
Yeah, of course. So let's bring those two together. I mean, I'm glad they did it this way, right? Instead of, well, let's overhaul and then we'll put on VelociCoaster later. I'm like, nah. Let's do VelociCoaster now and work on your.
Well, you think back to when we had Ferris on. That's what he said, wasn't it? It's like Orlando is the parent park, so they get all the sort of crazy new stuff. So it makes sense for them to do it that way as well. Then.
Yeah. Yeah. And it wouldn't be that much money either.
Nope.
They've already done it. They know what it takes.
Exactly.
And yeah. That's a pretty quick turnaround, right? How long did the other one take to do?
I don't think it was that long. I don't know specifically. I'm sure Gabe, if he's listening, will know.
Yeah, I can find out right now. Announced May 2018. The ride opened
July 12th, 2019.
July 12th, but it was announced May 18, 2018. So regardless, it was under a year.
Yeah, that's a
Didn't
pretty
say when
quick
they
turnaround.
closed. I'm sure I can find it somewhere, but
That's
under a year to do that.
Yeah, that's a good turnaround. I remember when Transformers got built, they were making such a big deal out of it that took a year to drop a building and build the whole thing back up. So yeah, a year's a quick turnaround.
A year is a very impressive turnaround, I think. Yeah, definitely.
Cool.
All right. So we have, let's see, our final clip is coming from Tyler Bowman.
Hi, UUOP. It is Tyler, one half of the Orlando duo, with my thoughts on the VelociCoaster. It is a lot of fun, and as a coaster fan, I am really eager to ride it over and over again. As far as other coasters in Universal, it is by far the best one. I've ridden Hagrid's only once, but even with Hagrid's into the mix, this is a different type of coaster than Hagrid's. It's less story-based and more along the hyper coaster versus Hagrid's, which is more of a story-based coaster and is just structured a little bit differently. If you want to compare this one to Hulk or Rip Ride Rocket, it blows both of those out of the water. As far as coasters in Orlando, it is really up there. My favorite Orlando coaster is still Mako over at SeaWorld, and this one really compares well to it. It doesn't go upside down like a loop-de-loop, but it does have a really cool inversion moment where you are literally riding upside down, and that is the best part about this ride, hands down. I think if it didn't have that, it would just be a really awesome coaster, but with the upside down portion, pushes it over the edge, and I can't wait to ride it again, if nothing else, to experience that really cool upside down portion.
So, Michelle.
It blew away Rip Ride. Did you hear that?
Hip, hip, hooray. Can't wait.
Now we have heard everyone's reviews. We have discussed it for about an hour at this point. How are you feeling?
Mixed reviews, because I love the franchise, like love it. So I'm excited about the dinosaur aspects. I'm excited about being immersed in that story, but I'm really scared about some of the elements on the ride that everybody says are so intense. So I'm going to try to keep my focus on the immersion and not so much like the dinosaur aspects and things like that. Yeah. I'm going to try to keep myself in that mindset and not be so afraid of the ride elements, like the coaster aspects.
Yeah. Look, Michelle, I know
that's my plan.
I've ragged on you for an hour, but I've kind of alluded to, I am slightly nervous for when I get to ride it, just because of knowing how nauseous I can be on certain things, and hearing the word intense does not fill me full of hope.
Yeah.
Zero nerves over here, guys.
I will ride.
All anxiety to ride it.
I will ride the hell out of it. It might kill my day, but I'm going to do it. There's no, I'm not like Michelle where she's kind of like, I don't really know. I am quite nervous. I will ride it. It's not the ride itself that I'm worried about. It's me afterwards that I'm worried about.
No, I'll ride it because I love the franchise so much. If this were just like a roller coaster, with no theming or whatever, I don't know that it would be, I don't know that I'd be brave enough to try it, but because of what it is, I'm going to do it regardless. Okay. I'm going to do it.
Good. I know, like we say, me and Chris have given you a lot of shit over the last hour or so, but we're not trying to put you off. We want you to ride it because look, when we all need to ride it so we can discuss it properly. It just means
no, I'm going to.
Good.
You heard it here, guys.
Yeah, look, even if you do it once, see, this is the thing that I keep ragging you about over Rip Ride Rocket, because you talk about it, but you've never experienced it. You could end up going on it. I know you're not going to, and I'm going to lay off. But it could be your favorite coaster in the world. You might get off it and go, "Oh my god, that was amazing."
It's very true.
I highly doubt that.
I know, but you don't know that.
Rocket tribute show. So,
but it's up to you. I'm going to keep pushing a little bit because it's what I do.
Yeah, you're never going to lay off of that.
No, probably not. And then when you do it, I'll be very proud. I'll be like a proud papa.
Proud papa.
That came out so good.
Oh, right, we have been talking about this friggin' coaster for a long time, but you know what? I could honestly talk about it even longer. It looks phenomenal. Like, even if you don't ride coasters, just what it brings to Islands of Adventure is immense.
Yep, it was needed. It really was.
It was, because like you take the Wizarding World out. It's funny, we were talking about it the other day, Tracy and I. Islands of Adventure hasn't really changed a lot since it opened. That park's been open 22 years this year, and I mean, you could say Hogsmeade's a massive addition to it, which it is, but other than that, they've only really added Kong and the High in the Sky Zeus Trolley Train Ride. You compare Universal Studios Florida in the same amount of time, and it's an entirely different park than it was 20 years ago.
Yeah, very true.
Entirely.
It really is. And Islands is, I don't want to say it's stale, but it Islands was the park that Tracy and I fell in love with, and we still love it. It just feels like it needed the things that it looks like it's finally getting. And VelociCoaster is definitely a bit of a shot of, I'm going to, pun intended, by the way, a shot of adrenaline that it really needed.
Yep. Agreed.
Cool.
Yeah.
I can't wait for you two to ride it and hear first-hand reviews.
You shall hear one soon enough, my friend.
Awesome.
And I'm going to pick me up one of those chicken raptors that they're selling too.
Oh, and we need some sort of desk statue, paperweight, something of that raptor statue in the queue, because it is amazing.
Like a little pen holder.
Just something. Apparently, having talked to people in the know, like very much in the know, it has been discussed. Whether we'll see it or not, who knows?
You guys hungry for some cake?
Always.
Well, I guess since I'm embodying Tracy today, we're going to do some PC birthdays. So, first birthday we have here is Charity Campbell, and that is on the 14th of May. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Next up, we have Patrick Hopkins, and that is on the 20th of May. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Patrick.
And rounding it up, because I'm sure Lee forgot one.
No.
Just kidding, Lee. We have Jeremiah Chapman on the 22nd of May. Happy birthday, Jeremiah.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Feliz cumpleaños.
There you go. I was hoping
she
couldn't end this without one of these. since Michelle was embodying me today, that's where that came from. There you go. Happy birthday, you guys. And, don't forget to send us cake, please. We love cake.
We do love cake.
We do.
And to have your birthday read out, among other things, you can join us. Just send us an email to uuopproducers@gmail.com. And come join the fun.
People are joining. We've had 2 new ones in the last week and a bit. So people are coming on board, and it's getting around to renewal time as well. So, and I've already got what I'm planning for the next year's merch. So I'm excited about that.
It's the Raptor statue, isn't it?
I wish it was.
Yeah. We need a T-shirt that says Producers Club and then mark out the club and put Cult under
yes,
it.
I think that would be fun.
Producers Cult. I like that.
Cool. Right, let's wrap this thing up. We have got a listener question to answer quickly. So, Michelle, will you read out Lauren's?
I sure will. Lauren Grigg writes, "Hi, I just found your podcast and really love it. Thank you. I am taking my kids to Universal for the second time in September. I didn't know anything about HHN until I started listening to your podcast. My kids are too young, 9 and 11, for HHN, but I was wondering if you thought the HHN crowds would affect the daytime crowds at the park. We will be there September 21st through the 24th, and it looks like HHN will run every night but the first one. We went for just a day that same week last year, and it was so empty. I'm hoping it isn't going to be really crowded when we get to go this year. I'm so excited about this trip, and listening to your podcast has made me even more excited. Thanks, Lauren."
Well, you're welcome. Makes me excited as well, but I'm not getting to go. So she is going Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. I don't think it will be that busy.
Personally, from my experience, I don't find that Horror Nights crowds affect daytime crowds.
No,
not at all.
The only thing, I think it's actually the opposite, because you don't want to be there all day and destroy yourself in the sun to not enjoy Horror Nights.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah, the only thing you'll be affected by is park hours. That's about it. But
good point. But then Islands will still be open.
Exactly, yeah. So spend your morning and afternoon at Universal, and then hop over to Islands and enjoy the rest of the day there. I don't think you're going to have any interruptions in that manner.
No, I agree. I think it's from our point of view coming over, the only people you'll generally find in the parks that are going to Horror Nights will be people like us who are traveling from further afield, shall we say, and are doing full-on vacations, whereas the vast, I don't know whether you two would agree, the vast majority of Horror Nights visitors will be people who are visiting specifically for Halloween Horror Nights.
Well, the crowds will start to get a little bit bigger in the afternoon because people want to come in for Stay and Scream.
Actually,
so
I am interested to see whether Stay and Scream is a thing this year. I think COVID is still going to have an impact on Horror Nights this year. What that will be, I have no idea. So I
don't see why they wouldn't, because it helps dissipate the crowd. You know, it helps with the crowding at the front of the park.
Yeah. Now that you mentioned that, that's a really good point. So all the stuff we just said is based on a regular Horror Nights year. If Universal decides to do anything funky this year, because we don't really know how they're going to do Horror Nights. I agree with Lee. I don't think it's going to be a full, exactly how you remember it. I don't think it's going to be a bare minimum either, but it will be interesting to see what they do with crowds and how they want to manage that.
Yeah.
Because didn't they always used to have 3 Stay and Scream locations? And then I think the last couple of years they've only had 2.
I don't remember, but I'll be going opening weekend in September. So I will tell you my thoughts again before your trip on, based on procedures and things.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting actually. I think with you guys doing Rush of Fear this year, you're going to have a lot to talk about as far as what Horror Nights is this year. It's going to be very interesting to see how much COVID still does affect crowds. I mean, like we've talked about at the beginning of the show, things are getting back to normal, and who knows, by September things might be fully back to normal. But I can't see. I know you guys talked about it on the last show, Rush of Fear, that those push through tunnels and dangly things and those like big tarpaulin things you have to push through, they probably won't be a thing this year.
No, I don't think so.
It is going to be an interesting year, actually.
Well, and 9 and 11 ages of your kids it depends on the kid, honestly.
I agree.
So if you have really brave kids that, don't have nightmares and things about movies or whatever, they don't scream running from watching Stranger Things, then they might actually be okay in part of the event. So for instance, my 10-year-old, who is quite timid on a lot of things, as you know, as far as thrill goes, but she loves horror things. Like, it's
More
a little disturbing,
does.
honestly, how much she loves horror things. So we're bringing her in this year for one night, and we're going to walk around.
Yeah.
Her first year. It was supposed to be last year. Supposed to have been last year, but she's going to come in and we're going to do scare zones, and she's going to do Beetlejuice. And she would like to try another house as well. So there, I think that there are ways that you can do it with kids, depending on the kid's personality.
I think it's even a way to do it, like just going through the scare zones is kind of like an entry point to seeing what their level of tolerance is.
Yeah, and it's totally fun. Like, I could do a whole night of HHM with not going in a house.
No,
and
you
still
couldn't.
have a blast.
No. Right? Yeah. So you two are making us look like terrible parents. Because we took Jade when she was 11 and we didn't ease her in. It was just like, right, just get in. We did the full event.
Oh, no, hold on. I'm just saying that for people that are worried. I will probably take my 5-year-old there whenever I have one. But worst case scenario, you even if you're by yourself, they always have the child swap for the houses. You just leave them with one of the zombies and you go in and enjoy it.
I wondered where you were going with that there.
Well, and they do have like some rides open with like no waits, which is amazing. Diagon Alley is usually still open.
Very true.
And it's completely empty.
It wasn't.
Except unless you're there on a weekender and you want it to be completely empty, then it's not. But
yeah, it really wasn't. That's what everyone keeps telling me. Oh, Diagon, best time to go is during Halloween Horror Nights. And we walked into Diagon Alley that Saturday night and it was heaving.
Oh, yeah. It was super busy that night. But, you can watch tons of videos on YouTube of scare zones and things and see what your kids think. You might actually have fun. So
Yeah, we've got an episode.
And if you take them in and they are terrified and crying, you didn't hear it from us that we recommended you do that.
You like how we deviated from her question? Like, she was just asking how the daytime is. And we're like, yeah, but go to Horror Nights, though.
Yeah, just take them.
Just go to Horror Nights.
There is an episode kicking around somewhere, I think it might be of the Dead Man's Digest, where I sat down and talked to Jade about it after we went. So an actual interview with an 11-year-old that did Halloween Horror Nights. And I've heard people, adults, listen to that interview and say it really helped for their first time. So maybe check that out. I can tell you what episode it was on. It was.
I may do that with Krissa after her first experience.
It was at LIBSYN around the back end of 2015. So if you head back in the feed for around that time, it'll be in there somewhere. Cool. So yeah, basically the crowds during the day will be all right, but go to Horror Nights anyway.
Yeah.
Cool. Right, that is going to wrap up a very long episode of the podcast, actually. It's been a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed talking about that coaster, even though it is absolutely killing me that I'm not going to get to ride it until next year. But such a good addition so far, and I have not heard one single bad word about it. I know Chris is excited.
You may hear some bad words from
Michelle,
but
don't worry, I got you covered on the bad words.
I expect nothing less at this point. I'm going to reference Halloween. I'm going to reference Yeti, Terror of the Yukon again, and so I know what to expect. All right, we are going to wrap up the show with another Universal Is, and this one comes from Turner Gray. Of course, if you want to get involved, all you've got to do is drop us an email to podcast@uopodcast.com or send them via Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. I quite often put posts up on Facebook, so just go and comment on them. We've just got a ton more, so we're covered for quite a while, but please get yours in. All you've got to do is tell us what you think Universal is in 3 words or less. And to wrap up this show, Turner says Universal is, and I like this one because I feel it very much, where I belong. Catch you next week, everyone.
Guess that wraps things up for another unofficial Universal Orlando podcast. You guys did all right. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Pinterest, keyword UUO Podcast. Listen and subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, or anywhere podcasts are found. You can find our blog at UUOpodcast.com. Send us your spews, which Lou gets your poo recordings, questions, or comments to podcast@UUOpodcast.com. Check out our friends, the Theme Park Duo, and our awesome sponsors, Mouse and Muggle Travel Company. So, until next time, don't give up your day job. Say cheese. See you later.